FN/LN was a very happy 13-year-old. She always saw the brighter side in everything and always tried to help anyone she met. Her belief was that no one should be upset. They should always wear a beautiful smile. She had semi-long hair with shining eyes that were filled with happiness and hope. She didn't have any siblings, and her mother and father left when she was a baby. But her grandmother took care of her. Her grandmother taught her always to smile. A smile will fix everything. One night, Wyan was sitting with her grandmother in the living room, watching the news as they always did. Wyan only watched the news because her favorite show came on afterwards, Law and Order. She looked over at the clock and jumped up in excitement, scurrying to the edge of the couch. Staring at the TV right before the show started, a loud beeping came from the TV. Wyan covered her ears and turned to look at her grandmother, saying, "What's going on, Nana?" Her grandmother pulled Wyan close, turning the volume down, saying, "The nice people are just informing us of something really important. Be quiet." Wyan nodded her head and looked at the TV screen curiously. I'm skipping that because I don't know how to read. Wyan looked up at her grandmother, terrified. Her grandmother whispered to her, "Go lock your windows and close your bedroom door. I will lock all the stuff back here and come back. I want you to sleep in my room tonight, okay, sweetheart?" Wyan nodded, with tears filling her eyes as she quickly ran into her bedroom, flicking the little lock on the window and closing her bedroom door quickly. As she ran by, she locked the front door, the windows in the living room, and the kitchen windows, and closed all of the blinds. She walked to her grandmother's room and watched as her grandmother did the same thing. To the hallway that considered her room, the back door, and her bathroom. When everything was locked and closed, Wyan crawled up underneath her grandmother's blankets. Her grandmother slid in beside her and turned the TV off, but leaving a tiny lamp on for Wyan. Wyan cuddled under the blankets beside her grandmother. She felt a lot safer in here than in her room. They both laid there for a while, and soon both drifted softly to sleep. A few hours later, Wyan awoke to a loud crash. She looked over at her grandmother's alarm. It read 4:30. She shrugged it off because that was the original time her grandmother gets up for work. She slowly laid her head back down on the pillow, but snapped it back up when she heard something fall. Wyan slowly slid her feet down onto the soft carpet of her grandmother's room. She walked to the door, reaching behind and grabbing the bat they keep there just in case. She slowly walked down the hallway and noticed a shadow waggling on the wall. She gripped the bat tightly and took a few more steps. She stepped in something sticky. She couldn't tell what it was. She assumed her grandmother dropped her coffee. She slobbered low at the bat and spoke up softly, the fear filling her voice. Nana, are you okay? She got no answer but heard footsteps. She quickly turned to the back door. She heard a soft click, and the lights came on. She turned to see what was behind her, and wanted to scream, but the sight was just too awful. At the end of the hallway stood a boy about 16 or 17. His blood-soaked hands on the light switch, and a knife in the other dragging in hand. He slowly looked up at her, and she saw it. The scariest smile in her life. It was jagged and bloody. It went from ear to ear. His smile in her life. It was scary. His long hair fell over the sides as his bloodthirsty eyes stared at her. He slowly removed his hand from the switch and I don't know, did someone with the knife. He grinned very largely and said with a gaspy voice, "Child, just go to sleep." Wyan screamed and dashed out over her back door and down a plastic steps. She ran frantically down the street and banged on one of her neighbor's doors. She screamed and begged until the porch light came on. And they came to the door. The man slowly opened the door and looked sleepily down at the girl on his porch. He spoke softly and said, "What is the matter, Wyan?" Wyan screamed and told him about the incident that occurred, tears pouring from her eyes. The man looked at Wyan, confused, but quickly pulled her in. When he heard the maniac laughed in the distance, he grabbed Wyan's shoulders and rushed her up the stairs as he grabbed the phone and followed in behind her. They ran upstairs and hid in one of the supply closets as the man quickly dialed the police. Wyan sat in the closet, squeezing her knees, trembling at what she saw. She stared up at the man who was yelling into the phone. She then looked down at her knees and cupped her face into her hands. She was alone. She was gonna die. No one was gonna save her. She was snapped out of her trance by this sound of sirens. The man sighed. Wyan's hand and the man sighed, relieved, and grabbed Wyan's hand and dragged her outside. He quickly He ran quickly up to the officers and handed them Wyan, saying, "She can give you all the information about what happened." "I'm going to lock my doors and check on my family." The police nodded and looked down at Wyan and asked, "Now, what happened?" Wyan looked down and felt tears pour down her eyes as she had to go back on over the terrifying incidents that had just occurred.